Hey guys, it's Melissa with Lare Garden Center, and I've got Derek behind the camera with me today.
Hi everybody.
I am going to show you how to make a holiday porch pot with our holiday kits that we have on our website. So we have a couple of different kits to make beautiful holiday porch pots, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Your kit that you get could have some variations of the items that you see here today, but it should be close to it. There's a couple of different options for colors and accents and things like that. So things may vary a little bit, but the principles will be the same. So your kit should have a plastic pot like this, which is filled with just some all-purpose potting soil mix, so nothing special there for the mix. And we're gonna use that to stick our greens into it. It should also have some white pine in it, which we will use in there, as well as some incense cedar, which is this stuff with the kind of little berries on it. It will have some Port Orford cedar, which is this tall, feathery looking stuff. And it will have a few other things. Some noble fir or silver fir, which is this. And I'm gonna show you how to use that here in just a minute. Today I am using some boxwood. Your kit will probably have some magnolia or a different type of evergreen. We just don't have that in yet, so I'm using that in place of that. And then depending on the color selections that you pick for your accents, whether you pick greens or some holiday accents, you might have a few other things in there. Today I'm doing a natural premium kit, and this is red berries that I have that are just a faux berry that we'll use in there, as well as some red twig dogwood, which is a natural branch, and then some pine cones on sticks. So that's kind of what we'll be using today for those accents and the pieces that go together to make this holiday kit. For those of you that are doing this at home, there are a couple of other things that you might want to have. One would be a good pair of pruners that you can cut with. You can also use, if you don't have pruners, like utility scissors. Some of the bigger stems might be a little hard to cut, but I've done that before in a pinch. And then you might want a pair of gardening gloves, as these little guys can have some sap to them and be kind of sticky sometimes. So that's kind of what I would recommend. For a holiday porch pot, you are going to want to think about how and where you're going to display this. So the first thing that I would encourage you to think about is, are you going to be able to just see it from the front, or are you going to be able to see it from all sides? So most of us take our holiday porch pots, we put them right in front of our front door, right on the sides of them. And so most of us are doing it where you can just see from the front side on things. So that's how I'm going to do it today and show you how to do it. And we are going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I always start with is I like to create my background, or like my tall piece that goes in the back. If you're doing it from all sides, that would go right in the center. I'm going to take one of these giant noble firs that I have here, and I'm going to give everything I have a fresh cut today so that it keeps them nice for longer. So it will help them to stay a little bit fresher throughout the season. I'm going to cut off the little branches on the bottom to give my stick a place to go. And I need a different pair of pruners. Thank you, Derek.
Yep.
You could see those weren't going to cut for me, didn't you?
Yep.
And so I'm just kind of cutting off the bottom layers. I'm not going to throw those away. Those are going to come in handy later. And I'm just cutting this stuff off here. And I'm going to give one big cut down here at the bottom just to get a nice fresh cut on there.
Some of these take some pretty
This is one.
to cut it. Like
Did you see my face? Oh, that was not pretty. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right into the back of my pot like that. And I'm actually going to take my other piece. I've got two of those pieces. Your kit should as well. I got to just find it in my pile here. At the bottom, of course. Do you see it poking out for me?
Are you looking for it?
I'm looking for the, yep, there we go. I want the silver or the noble fir.
The silver fir is the one that looks like a regular Christmas tree branch, by the way.
Yes. So that's probably what you're most familiar with. I'm going to do a little quick trimming on it. Give it that fresh cut we talked about. And then I'm going to kind of just, so I have a nice little backdrop to start creating branches and sticking other things in. I'm going to do a little bit of upright, and then I'm going to build out my edge from there. So this white pine that I have, I'm going to cut off those little branches, and I'm going to use them here in a minute. But I'm going to use this bigger one as kind of still my backdrop back here to kind of start to create some texture in there. I'm going to take another white pine that I have and kind of do the same things. I like to use the little pieces and then use these kind of for my filler and kind of splay it out a little bit. Are you able to see what I'm doing there, Derek?
Yes, looks
Okay.
nice. Looks like you're always putting balance on either side from what
I'm trying to just have like a nice mix of greens all over.
So you wouldn't just want to just start throwing a bunch of different kinds in there, really. There's a little bit of a rhyme and a reason.
There
to
is
it,
a
at
little
least.
bit of rhyme or reason, but it is just about, for me, it's about texture and having kind of a nice balance of height. And so I'm trying to see what I'm doing at the same time as I'm showing you guys. But I do like I am a sucker for white pine. I like it all, actually. I shouldn't say that. You know how I am.
Yeah, I like white pine too. But
I use it a lot.
There's a lot of different.
I like it all. I mean, they all add, look at that beauty right there. And this is going to add some really pretty height to my pot. So I'm going to put that maybe right in there. Actually, I'm going to move this other one. And with soil, you can kind of move things around. So that's the beauty of it too. Just kind of like sticking things in, looking at that texture. I have a huge branch of this Port Orford cedar, and I'm going to cut off a lot of branches of this to get to some bigger ones that I can use, but also use the small stuff. I'm always thinking about how I can get the most out of all the branches I have, because I like to not have a lot of waste. And you can see that one's a little bit harder. But these guys make really nice like side. See how that's looking? Kind of a nice like draper, but it also makes like really pretty texture to it. So I love the bigger ones for that. Got a nice big one there. I'm gonna do kind of the same over here, maybe. And then I'm gonna start to kind of fill out this edge with like a little bit of a weeping edge to it to really kind of cover the edge of the pot and make it look a little bit more natural. And I use a lot of this Port Orford cedar for that. I'm just clipping away and kind of randomly putting it there.
But it also looks like you're always using a top too.
I am. I don't like to use things like that very much. I will do it, and I'll show you here in a minute how. But we don't want to see a lot of those. Like even this, I'm more likely to clip off these things and use the tinies like this than to want to see like that stick. Does that make sense? I want to add some texture in here too, so I'm going to take like some of that fur that I clipped off earlier and add some of that in there too, just to get some other layers built in. You can see me kind of just like going through my different textures of things. I'm just filling holes now, and I'm going to try to start filling towards me. I'm going to turn for just a second so I can see what I got going on here. This is boxwood, which I really like too, just for a little bit different texture. I'm just looking at how I'm going to cut these pieces. I think I'm going to cut like right there. Yep. And I'm tucking these into some of my holes. They're a great hole filler. So you can kind of see where I have some gaps in here. Like I love tucking boxwood in because it quickly fills up a gap. If you in your kit Magnolia will do the same thing, so that we use a lot for that, and it just gives a really different texture than a lot of these evergreens that we're using. What if somebody
doesn't have Magnolia in their kit?
So you can do any of these you can really use as a filler, and I'll show you like some of these other ones like this Port Orford you can do too. So watch how quickly that filled that space just by putting that branch in there.
You can also, if you really gotta have Magnolia, you can give us a call or Facebook message us, and we may have some for you to add too.
Yeah, so that'll be part of the kits as we start going through the season. Magnolia will be here in a few days, so we just didn't have it today while we were doing videos, but we figured we could still show you exactly what to do here. So there's a lot of other types of evergreens that we are not using in this porch pot today. So if there are other things you like, there's no rules with it. It's just basically kind of tucking things in and filling in those gaps. And gosh, that is a huge branch of this. So you can kind of see how that's starting to come together. I think I still have a little bit of space. Derek, can you help me out from where you're looking? I'm feeling like I might have a gap right there.
There's where I would say it might need.
So I'm going to add a little bit more.
Boxwood.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It looks really nice though.
Thank you. So I'm going to tuck a little bit of boxwood in there. Actually, that's a really nice piece just as it is.
You're working so fast, like it's almost like you put these together before.
Oh, geez, I wonder. Derek, how many porch pots have we made in a season before?
Oh, I want to say at least, I gotta be at least 100, wouldn't you think?
Oh, well, I think last year you guys put together like close to 350
Just
porch
like
pots,
yeah,
so maybe more with the ones we did for our landscaping customers.
So about 100 per person.
Yeah, just a few. So you can kind of see how that comes together. Now I'm going to come around from the front and I'm going to look at how things are looking and start to maybe put some of those other,
We're showing you the mixture that she ended up with.
I'm going to add a few other pieces in here of some of the natural stuff. So this is my red twig dogwood. I could do trimming on this or I can leave it very natural. I tend to do more of that with it. You can give it a fresh cut. Again, this isn't really going to matter so much on this just because it will keep its red color even if it starts to dry out. So I'm just going to start tucking these in too. And typically when we work with like our accents, we're looking at 3s for most things. You can do 2s, but I'm usually kind of a 3 person, and you'll see that in this pot too. Just odd numbers of things. Although I'm going to make that exception to the rule with the pine cones. So, and
I feel like if 2, you have to at least off center or make them different heights so that it looks more natural.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. I'm giving this guy a little bit of a haircut. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this guy. He's kind of a weird shape. We're going to plug in a few of these. And I think I'm going to actually make these short here and plug them in the front. So this is where it's totally up to you. I want you to use your own creativity. I always have people tell me that they're not creative, they don't know how to do this. You cannot mess this up. You are going to do just fine. It's just about plugging things in, and it looks, it is easy because it will be easy for you. It's clipping and pushing things in. Anytime we have people come for our classes and I hear somebody say, oh, I can't do this, then they go home with a beautiful creation and they're like, yes, I can do this. So these are our faux berries. They can be outside. They're just going to look like a berry, not a real one, but they're kind of pretty. So I'm going to tuck these in a couple different ways. You can see that I'm just bending this wire stem. You can also trim it, but I'm not sure what height I want. So I'm going to just kind of tuck those in and see how I like them before I do any actual cutting. Sometimes I don't even cut them because you can often use these for a couple seasons, and so I might want something different next year. So again, I'm just kind of adding those in. And this one, my front one, I do want it to be shorter, so I may have to do, oh, I think we can get it in there.
This looks like you got it in there.
Is that looking okay, Derek? Is there anything you would shift there?
From this side, it looks nice.
Okay, so now, the last little accent I have to add, and I may end up adding some greens in there after I'm done too, is some pine cones. And I'm just going to trim these off with my pliers. It's just a wooden stem. We can add, I'm going to kind of see where those go.
I feel like those are always a little harder to put in because of the extra stick that sticks out.
Yes. So I'm kind of just going like a little off, a little higher on one, a little lower on the other. Let me see how that is looking.
Looks really nice.
So that's just like a nice natural one. This one could take you all the way through the winter in my opinion. It's not super Christmassy. I am going to add just a few more little greens like right in here. I think it needs just a little bit more texture.
So now that this is built, what can people expect to have to do for care for it?
So the first thing that we want you to do when you take it home or when you're done creating it, take it outside, put it in the place that you want it, is you want to give it a good drink of water. Especially want to do this right before it freezes, because we actually want these to freeze in place so that the wind doesn't blow them away this winter. It will also help them stay looking green, fresher, longer. They could also spray it with a product called Wilt Proof that we carry, which is basically kind of like a waxy substance that helps lock the moisture in and will help them stay green longer too. So are there any other tips that you would add to that?
Just making sure, I think you already said, I guess emphasizing to make sure you water it as soon as it's finished really deeply. That's the only thing I can think of.
It just kind of helps to keep those stems moist, which keeps the plants looking greener longer. They're not alive, they're dead at this point, but we want to try and keep them green. And I've had greens sometimes, you know, every year has been really different. I've had some stay green almost all the way till March, and then I've had other times that they're only green through like early January. So it just really depends on how warm and how cold and windy and like all those different things can really affect how long they stay green, but definitely fun. We don't have to have boring porch pots in the winter time, right?
Yes, it really is a nice addition to rather look at, well, a barren pot or that is, I'd much rather look at that, and it looks really nice in the snow too.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that we'll probably go ahead and finish up the video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through our website at tedsgardens.com or social media channels on Instagram or Facebook, or regular phone number. We're out there at tedsgardens.com, so feel free to reach out through any of those means. These kits are also on our website. We have a porch pot kit, a wreath making kit, a Grinch tree kit, and I believe a birch centerpiece kit as well. So fun things that you can do at home with the family or your kids and just enjoy the holiday season.
All right, we're going to go ahead and end it there.
Okay, thanks for watching, you guys.
Bye.